Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to our Atlanta Falcons news rumor video here on a Monday. And there's some interesting stuff going on today regarding roster moves and depth chart changes and position changes. So let's jump into the first big one of the day, and that is an OTA little snippet that not a lot of people are talking about in the media, but we at least wanted to bring it up, and that is the possible position change of quarterback Feleipe Franks. Now, this all spans from a tweet that was put out just a couple of days ago during the Falcons OTAs at an indoor practice showing Franks was working out with the tight ends group, meaning that there's a potential chance for a position change there. And while no official statement from the Falcons has come out yet, probably because they're still trying to try him out at the position very, very early in that, Avery Williams, talked about him last week, went from cornerback to running back, and so could we be seeing a quarterback becoming a tight end in the near future for the Atlanta Falcons? Now, this all stems of the fact that Atlanta, of course, signs Marcus Mariota in the offseason. They draft Desmond. They already have Josh Rosen. The depth chart is getting a little bit crowded there in terms of the quarterback spot, and we've seen this before with some quarterbacks switching over to tight ends. I think Tyrese Jackson, the former quarterback in college, who's now a tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles, that's the most recent one I can think of, but it happens more often than you would realize, and there's a chance that Franks could be the next quarterback to tight end transition in the National Football League. Now, SportsTalkATL had a write-up on this that I thought was pretty good. We'll throw it up on your screen here. Quote, as Kelly stated, Arthur Smith has already said that we'd see some players in new spots. We already saw Atlanta convert Avery Williams to running back, probably due to the crowded cornerback room. We might be seeing a more solidified place for Franks at tight end. They were going to say, quote, Smith tinkered with Franks at quarterback and tight end throughout the season and though I wasn't a massive fan of the timing of these experiments, there's undeniable value in having a player who can hurt you with his arm and feet on the field, end quote. Now, this really does stem from the fact that the quarterback depth chart is very, very crowded right now. Like, we obviously know who 1 and 2 are. It's very clear that Mariota will be 1, at least for now. Ritter has to be 2 because he's a draft pick, a third-round draft pick. And then you have this kind of quarterback 3 battle between Josh Rosen and Feleipe Franks. And you remember, Franks during the preseason last year really showed off the leg talent, his ability to run the football a lot more so than throwing the football, and that, I think, kind of transitions to the ability to go ahead and swap over. Plus, I think that even though Rosen has been very much a bust in his career, the 11th overall draft pick a couple of years ago in the first round, he still is probably a better thrower of the football than Franks, and so if Franks sees no real future at quarterback in the National Football League, switching over to tight end, being a backup, being a kind of project sort of guy might keep him on the football field longer, therefore giving him more money as well, which is kind of what it all comes down to. The longer you play, the more money you make, and the less time you have to go spend looking for a regular person job instead of playing in the National Football League. Let me ask you guys this. Who wins the number 3 quarterback job, Rosen or Franks? I think it's very clear it's going to be Rosen right now. If you agree, type R down below in the comments section. I think it could be Franks. Type F down below for Franks, which, again, I guess he still might play the quarterback spot. Like, they haven't officially announced it, so it's kind of hard to tell what's going on there. But I think Franks is definitely looking at the idea of switching over to tight end. Now, we continue to look for more subscribers here on the channel as we approach, hopefully, 7K, 8K, 9K, 10K. We keep growing on Atlanta Falcons today. If you guys enjoy the content, you enjoy almost daily stuff here on the channel regarding your Atlanta Falcons, we're one of the only people that really does full breakdowns of what's going on every single week, even during the offseason on YouTube. If you guys like that, go down below and subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well, because if you are subscribed, the YouTube algorithm is weird sometimes. It won't tell you that we actually dropped a new video unless you hit the little bell. So hit the bell down below and help us grow the channel. Okay, let's move over here to Kyle Pitts, because he obviously has a massive microscope on top of him looking at his 2022 potential in year 2 with the Atlanta Falcons, and he's been looking good at OTAs, as naturally we expect him to, and I think that the coaching staff and Pitts himself are expecting massive upgrades in terms of overall play and production in year 2 versus what was already a very productive year 1. So Arthur Smith, Falcons head coach, had this to say about Pitts just the other day, quote, as you've seen with Kyle, as he progressed through last season, I've said this many times, he's just scratching the surface. You see a different player and mindset. He's not facing the unknown. He knows what to expect from us. We know what we're getting from him, end quote. I think that this was kind of the issue with Pitts last year, at least the only real issue, because he was fantastic. I mean, the numbers are absolutely incredible. Look at those, 1,026 yards. But it was the familiarity with the NFL game, the speed of the NFL game, and I think there were a lot of possessions that he was left out of, especially early on in the NFL season, because he didn't quite feel comfortable, and the coaching staff knew they didn't want to overwhelm him. Now, if he's learned quickly and learned a lot this offseason, you can look at these numbers here and really improve that going into 2022. I mean, it could be a lot better than what it was. Pitts himself mentioned that mentally he's in a great spot as well. We'll throw that quote up on the screen here. Mentally, I'm trying to get better. There's always room for improvement. The mental, trying to dissect coverages faster. The mental side helps you play faster. Just knowing what the defense is going to do, end quote. And that makes sense. Physically, he's ready to rock. Catching the football, running with the football, breaking tackles, doing all that sort of thing is the easy part for Kyle Pitts because he's a physical freak and he was great at it at Florida in college. But the mental aspect of knowing what to do in this situation, knowing what route to run here when he has an option route, knowing what defensive coverages they're going to throw at him because, as we saw last year, and as we'll probably see this year, he's the primary focus of most defenses when it comes to the passing attack and you play the Atlanta Falcons. Like, maybe Drake London helps out with that, and hopefully he does, but the rest of the wide receiver core isn't that great. They're going to key in on Kyle Pitts. It's going to be the Kyle Pitts show, and every single week the opposing defensive coordinators are going to first go, let's stop Pitts, and then we'll stop the rest of them. So hopefully the mental game continues to grow here, and I expect, like many people do, Kyle Pitts to have a very, very good year. Okay, I want to quickly transition over to some other Arthur Smith quotes that was interesting regarding OTAs the past couple of days. And of course, Atlanta, these little, easy, short OTA stuff is not that thrilling, but there is some little nuggets that would come from it. And I think this Arthur Smith quote is a good one. Throw it up on the screen. Quote, at this time of year, because we don't have to line up and play a real game, you may go heavy at receiver. It's an extended 2 or 3 week trial for certain guys at certain skill positions. So this kind of backtracks us to Atlanta adding a bunch of C-list, D-list wide receiver to this wide receiver depth chart. I mean, look it up on your screen right now. There's a lot of guys. I mean, you get like Tate, and then they trade for Brian Edwards, and then they have all these different wide receivers into this mix, including Drake London. They drafted it in the first round, and I've always thought that this was too many. Like, normally you keep 5, 6, maybe 7 wide receivers, but 5 or 6 is kind of the money number for most teams, and Atlanta has way more than that. And so the question really was, okay, well, what are they going to do in terms of actually, cutting these guys or keeping these guys? And Smith made it seem like we could see some cuts sooner rather than later. Like, after OTAs, you can see some guys go ahead and get cut just to slim down that roster in general as you head into the true offseason and the true training camp. Now, not pictured here, he also mentioned that those newly freed up roster spots, once wide receivers are let go, could be given to offensive linemen, meaning we are expecting the Atlanta Falcons to add more offensive linemen to the depth chart in the coming weeks here, because Arthur Smith is saying that that's a key position group they want to add some more depth. And honestly, good for them, rightfully so. I mean, this depth chart, as you see right now, is it more improved than last year? Yes, I think so. But my big, I think, wish for the Falcons this offseason regarding the offensive line was that they would add depth. And not add depth just to have bodies in there, but add real competition. And they tried to do that, I think, at times this offseason. But I want open competition at left guard. I want open competition at right tackle. And I think you can even make a case for center as well, because Matt Hennessy wasn't that good during his time at center in 2021. And so you look at a guy like Jalen Mayfield, right now he's your starting left guard. But if you bring in some additional competition, you open that up to where maybe he wins the job and he's your best option at left guard. And if that's the case, then I'm fine with it. But if he's not your best option, get some competition in there. That way you can help grow him up overall and hopefully go ahead and make that a very, very, I would say, the key position on the offensive line, an important position overall for the Atlanta Falcons, because if the offensive line continues to struggle, as it did in 2020, as it did in 2021, even though you have mobile quarterbacks in there, or more mobile quarterbacks than Mariota and Desmond Ridder, they will still give up sacks, they will still not be able to pass protect, and the run blocking could be bad as well. So I wish the best for Jalen Mayfield. I think he'll be better than he was year one. Rookie lineman thrust into a new position. It was, a recipe for disaster. But if they don't get more competition in there, and it sounds like they will, Mayfield will start again, and they will struggle again, and we'll have another rough season in the ATL. Okay, will Jalen Mayfield start at left guard in 2022? What do you guys think? Now, right now, he's, like I said, slated to be the starter, but if they bring in more help, as Smith has hinted at, maybe he loses that job. Think he will start, type Y down below for yes. Think he will not, go ahead and type N down below for no. Okay, ultimate day on our Atlanta Falcons news and rumor video. Again, make sure you guys are subscribed, and mainly because, one, great content coming up later on this week, some segments, more news and rumors, and that sort of jazz, but a mailbag video will happen later on this week as well. So if you're a new subscriber or you've never been a part of our mailbag video, there are kind of 2 key points you need to know. One, we only take questions from our subscribers, so you can comment all you want down below, but if you're not subbed, and we do check, then you don't get your mailbag question answered, even if it's good. And 2, use the hashtag Falcons when asking your question down below in the comments section, because it makes it easier for me to find your question, because we have hundreds of comments on the videos, and I gotta scroll through every single one trying to find your specific comments. So use the hashtag Falcons down below to be a part of a mailbag video, which will take place later on this weekend, as we always do. They're fun. It's fun to just kind of see what you guys want to ask, and I try to answer the questions as best as possible. So we'll see what happens. Okay, ultimately today, again, our Atlanta Falcons newsroom video. Plenty more content coming up later on this week. So again, make sure you are subscribed. Give the video a thumbs up as well, as we have plenty of great stuff happening in the next couple of days and weeks. For Atlanta Falcons today, I am Thomas Mont as we go ahead and sign off. Stay safe out there and enjoy the rest of your day.